Hey, what's going on everybody? Blades for here, and today I have for you guys another video of Persona 5 X. Now inside today's video, guys, I'm pretty sure you can tell by the title, but we have a lot of things to go over, and that is the selection banners, and not just any selection banners, but the limited rerun banners. If you guys did not tune into at least the stream that happened later on today, going over 3.0.1 here, don't worry, we'll be covering all that information and making sure all you guys are actually stayed informed when it comes down to all this stuff here. A lot of things were shown, so expect a lot of videos coming out fairly soon. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. And actually, what are you doing? Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, helps us out a lot. We're still trucking the 3.6K. We're only going to keep on moving from there, but let's go ahead and get into it. So as many of us do know, there is currently a couple types of banners in this actual game here. We have at least the standard banner as usual. We have our normal pulling banner, and then we have our weapon banners. Well, upon recent release, of course, we ended up getting the banner typing of also having the 50/50, which was always the banner typing. And then eventually we have the guarantee of the character, though with a higher pity being at 110. Well, now as of recently, they have released another banner typing, which is now the kind of, I guess, selection, banner, you can call it a selection banner, in which this one was for mainly standards. As you guys can tell here, all these characters being at least from Skull, Mona, Rin, Ann, Marion, Riddle, and Phoebe are all standard characters with the absentee of at least Cherish. These characters are all ones that have came out a little bit ago, and now we're actually able to pick and choose from these guys to actually pull them. And if you're free to play, I mean, it can be a little bit worth your buck depending on it, but I would highly suggest skipping these. This banner typing honestly is not really a bad banner typing. It's really good, and I was not expecting to see, especially revealed on the stream, that they would actually go and do this for limited banners as well. Well, if we go ahead and take a look at my screen here, you guys should actually end up seeing the YouTube pop up for it, and you should see the next banner. Now, much like how we have the banner system with at least the what's it called, the standard pulls, we are now getting one when it comes down to limited pulls. Now, this was something that they ended up showing. This was early this morning, around like 4 hours ago. So yeah, maybe 6 o'clock. And it reveals that we will have all of these limited characters, or at least limited characters and standard characters that came out before pretty much Mesa, right? So all these characters are being from the very beginning of the game, which you guys can see on my screen real quick here. They will be these characters from the very beginning of the game, being all of these standard units and things like this, up to characters that are up to at least the summer update, being Summer Closer and Summer Moko. This has involved with Summer Moko, Summer Closer. We now also have Cord, Phoebe, and as we can go ahead and play this here, we got Phoebe, we have Queen, Yusuke being Fox as well, Marion, Yui, Joker, and then of course all of the standard characters. This apparently is going to be something that's just going to be running. I'm unsure if it's going to be a consistent thing that's going to be running all the time, but I actually find this is a good thing. Now, before everyone decides to go over and be like, this might be a problem, there's too many things to summon on and things of that. Before we go ahead and check out the cons, let's check out the pros. So with things that are going to be noticed, yes, as you can tell, there's other banners down here. And with this new banner now starting to be at least added for a time frame, it could add another thing that kind of is a little bit of a problem. Though the pro to this is now you can skip characters freely, right? And certain characters that you've pulled, let's say if you've pulled like majority of the characters there and you're not really interested in the other one, it gives you time to save. These banners are going to be lasting for a 2-week period for the most part, and that is really good. Now, if I'm right, the next one being the limited banner is actually going to be lasting most likely for a month period, which is really good because this gives you a lot of time to actually save, while it's alongside most likely a different banner that you can kind of save against as well. If you're anything like me, and when it comes down to these kind of these kind of pulls here, or these banners, there's going to be a couple characters that you don't want, and there's going to be a couple characters that you do want. The good part to actually having this here is now when there's a character that you do want, you can go ahead, select it, make sure you can get them guaranteed by using the new one here for the 110, and get that character and just go by your day. Alongside with having this here, you're also able to then actually invest into getting their weaponry, or at least their weapons in general. So for example, we have a bunch of standard characters, right? There's a bunch of standard characters here. Well, all the standard characters weapons are going to be here, much like the actual standard characters, but there's most likely going to be a picker for actually the limited weapons as well. So imagine you have this being the limited weapon actual banner, and now you can choose all the limited weapons that you may have actually ended up missing out on, which is really going to help you out in the long run. So for those characters that you really wanted to invest in, they will now be back, and you're able to actually get these characters instead of it feeling like you're being rushed here. It gives you more of a skip priority and actually gets to see certain things that you really want to go into. Another good part that is a huge pro about this is now that we know that they have released this and they're starting to do this with standards and limited characters, in that they've actually left out a few characters, being at least Mesa, being Futaba, Haru, Cherish. They've left those out. It now gives us that speculation point that we can actually see this happening for a few more times. So how we have it, at least in the standard banner here, we have currently all these standard characters except for Cherish. Well, as more standard characters do come out, like Ruka, or at least Runa Doggenza, and then of course we have Cherish already out, they're going to most likely do this again, but with the addition of these characters. This will give us a lot more things that, just in case we do need the time and we really want to summon on these characters, they will eventually be added here as their own separate banners, and you can get them at a separate time. The same thing can be said when it does come down to the limited versions of this. So surely do keep that in mind, that that could be a really good pro, so you can kind of skip things more often, knowing they're going to come back really quick and actually have a rotation that's going to be really helpful for you. Now, some pros, or at least some cons about this, because I know I'm kind of sounding like I'm just all over this right now. The cons about this is actually going to come down to the summoning currency. If you go ahead and take a look here, remember we were talking about a new currency that's being added. Well, that currency is actually going to be this. Instead of actually getting these guys here, you will only get these if you get 4 stars, and these if you get 5 stars, or like 4 stars as well. So like if you don't get a 4-star, you usually always get these, right? If you get a 4-star, you usually get these or these guys, but a little bit less, right? Well, these here are kind of the equivalent. If you get yourself a 4-star, you get these, or if you get yourself a 5-star, you get these. But it's going to be now on a time factor, or at least a time factor. Unlike this banner here, or at least these things here where you can kind of save these guys up, these are on a time crunch. So if you are going to summon on those banners, you need to utilize all of these to the best of your capability, especially seeing that you kind of need these. For some people who are probably welding, this is actually really worth it here, especially seeing you're getting yourself these, which allow you to actually start to well out on some of these actual movements here, or at least a lot of these actual weapons here. So it does come in handy, which actually I need to get this myself. But all in all, it's going to come down, this is kind of the main con. If you do summon on these, they are a total different currency. You can't save them for the most part by the looks of it here, and that's going to be a little bit of con for a lot of people who really want to save this and use them on other banners. You won't be most likely able to. But all in all, I kind of see this as a little bit of a W, especially when it comes down to at least us being able to get certain characters. If you're missing any characters, you now have this thought process of they're going to run back and not only just get their own separate reruns as their own separate banners, but eventually be in a list where you can select all different types of characters and rerun them yourself here on your own time, when you may have cash or when you just have saved up currency. This is a huge deal, whether it's limited banners or non-limited banners, but I'm really excited to see it actually add into the game. But I want to hear what you guys think as well when it does come down to this, of course. Do you think this is a good addition? Do you think it's a bad addition? And will you be utilizing it or not? Let me know down below. Until next time, everybody, peace out and have a nice day.